I think I find myself somewhere in the middle. I didn't necessarily start off that way. And I I get both perspectives to some extent. I am wary of the unbridled enthusiasm, uncritical embrace of AI, in tech boy Sam Altman fashion, whenever you hear him convey their thoughts about this, it's always, the best thing since sliced bread, and there's absolutely no caution or balanced discussion about the risks and harms. So I am wary of that position, but I also don't want to bury my head in the sand either. And while initially I did have some doom and gloom feelings about it when AI generated works first started showing up in student submissions, it was so disheartening, like I'm sure many of my colleagues felt and are feeling now. It made me question my role, my professional career, even. I was like, what am I doing if this is the current status quo? None of us want to be police, right? So after then thinking about it and reading up on it and trying to educate myself about AI and its potential use, I think that I had a shift and I started to view it more as an opportunity um, to rethink higher ed and how we've been doing things. And I think it's no secret that we haven't been doing things in the best way for the outcomes that we're trying to produce. If we're trying to produce, I don't know, critical thinkers and worldly citizens and people who have all kinds of skills and abilities, that we have been going it about it not necessarily in the best way. So I saw it as maybe a blessing in disguise, where it would encourage us to return to those essential skills of learning to think critically, learning about ourselves, learning about the world, and importantly, learning to learn. That might be the most essential skill in the age of AI, where jobs are going to become obsolete and people are going to have to reinvent themselves likely many times along, the course of their careers. I also saw it as an opportunity to continue along the way that I had started to really center process over product. We in academia have been very much obsessed with product and outcome and assessments and exams, and as opposed to giving students opportunities to make mistakes and to revise their work and to really learn from that process. So, for example, for a few years already, I have been allowing students to revise and resubmit pretty much all of their work, and they always get a second chance. They get my feedback, and then they have a certain amount of time to resubmit for full credit. I think that takes that pressure off to be perfect the first time, and again, to kind of center process over product. Um, it's challenging me to also create more relevant and meaningful assignments. We saw that students said that on the survey that the TLC conducted in the fall of 2024. Some 200 students mentioned for their one of the top reasons that would make them not use AI for an assignment, or at least use it improperly, would be that the assignment is meaningful and relevant to their learning and connects to their life and is worth their time. So it's a challenge, of course, to do that and revise all of your assignments, but that's something that I'm trying to do. Have them, for example, conduct interviews with people, depending on the context, right? A family member for my developmental class, an elderly family member who's at the end of their lives, or for my intro class to conduct interviews with psychologists and see what a psychologist does in real life. Observations, my developmental class, they observe a child and connect it to concepts in the class. Um, to do field studies for my neuroscience class, they have to observe an animal and connect that to brain anatomy and function, etc. So it's a challenge, but I'm trying to do that. and also leaning in more on building trust and connection with them because that's another reason that was mentioned in the student panel interview as well as the survey, that feeling that the instructor is engaged and uh, cares about the outcome would also be another reason that would keep them from using AI improperly. And so even that just this semester, getting ideas from other instructors, I'm being a bit more lenient about the first time they use AI improperly. Initially, they just got a zero on it, and I told them, come to my office hours, we can talk about it, and this is all open to discussion. And many things resulted from that discussion if they took me up on it. But then after hearing another faculty say, well, I don't give them a zero on that first one, that's when, I just give them another chance and we talk about it. So I decided to implement that. And even though I put a lot of work into my AI use policy and explain exactly how they can use it and how they cannot, I think it's worthy of giving them a second chance because, it's those first couple weeks, maybe they didn't read it that carefully or understand it. So I'm trying to lean in more into that trust and connection with them as well. Um, For my fellow faculty, I also think that it's incumbent on us to educate ourselves about AI. Again, the not being on the bury your head in the sand side of the spectrum. Even if you don't want to use it or teach it in the classroom, it's incumbent on you to know what you're up against. It's a game changer. It's a seismic shift in your profession. And so to understand the impact of AI on academic skills and outcomes, yes, all these studies about how it impacts these essential skills you're trying to teach students and your content, to understand the ethical considerations of it, both from a student perspective in terms of using it improperly and cheating, but also, for example, the environmental cost of it. It's not free. And maybe all the way down to teaching students how to use certain tools. That would be up to you and your comfort level. But I think that, like another professor said on a recent podcast I was listening to, my robot teacher, if you haven't listened to it, it's pretty awesome. She said, teaching AI literacy is analogous to teaching sex education. If you don't teach about sex, they're still going to do it anyway and probably make poor choices and terrible things might happen. So that's kind of how I view it, that if maybe, even if you don't want to teach it to them, at least educate yourselves.